virtual small business industry roundtable. And I think we've had a really outstanding turnout for this session. So thank you very much for joining us. And, part of this meeting could be experimental because of technology, but if it is, I hope you just go ahead and bear with us and know that we're learning right along with everybody else exactly how this stuff works. So, as you guys know, we have surveyed everyone, our members, a number of times over the last year. So we are coming up right now on almost a year since, it was going to be 14 days to flatten the curve, right? And so a year later, here we are. And what we have found consistently over our surveys over the last nearly year is that the concerns of the business community really haven't changed. And quite honestly, they haven't changed too much, even from pre-COVID times. So we've had real consistency. I'm in my 12th year at the Chamber, and taxation, regulation, and workers' compensation have always been at the top of the government affairs concerns, or just concerns about being in business, period. So that remains constant. I don't expect that to change anytime soon. But I do want to relay to you some of the specific feedback we received on our most recent survey to members, and this was to all of our members. Economic uncertainty was the top concern. I don't think that comes as any surprise. That being said, economic uncertainty, mostly due to the fact that we're in the state of Illinois, has been a concern for a long time. It's just been exacerbated during this coronavirus situation. Government regulations, including COVID-19 mandates, was the second most largest area of concern. So know that for all of you feeling that impact, you're not alone. That was incredibly consistent. And these top issues the 4 issues that I'm pointing out were the top 4 issues by a landslide. The third was minimum wage increase. I know that depending what industry you're in, you're impacted more or less, but you have to keep in mind that this is going to naturally cause an increase in goods and services as the impact of that filters down to all of us, whether you're paying your own staff, above minimum wage or not. It's going to have an impact. Unfortunately, those in the highly impacted due to COVID mandate industry, restaurants, this is really having a big impact. So another minimum wage increase went into place January 1st. We're going to have another one. Lisa, nod your head if I'm correct, July 1st. Yeah, so they just keep on coming. This doesn't work itself out until we reach $15 an hour a couple years from now. So this is a really big issue for businesses and consumers, quite honestly. And then another kind of new concern area that we discovered through this survey was government instability, which we know exists. But what was really concerning to us, again, not surprising, but it's everyone's lack of confidence in our elected officials to actually make the tough decisions and do what's necessary. So from an economic perspective, that lack of confidence is pretty scary. And so we just keep hoping that our legislators are going to do what they really need to do. I think the track record is not a positive one over the last years. So, we'll see. I can promise you that our elected leaders do hear business concerns, certainly through our Chamber of Commerce. I serve on the board of directors for the Illinois Chamber of Commerce. I'm on the Government Affairs Committee for my state association, and I work with advocacy-focused chambers of commerce from across the state to bring forth ideas that are designed to help you guys do business and do what you do best. So I apologize for the phone noise in the back. So some of the concerns that we're working on at the state level, a lot of it really focuses on some of the environmental regulations. There's also some biometric information legislation that passed several years ago, but it's now working its way into the court system with some class action suits. So businesses are seeing some real scary outcomes from that. Primarily, it's focused on healthcare industry, as they're using fingerprint scan, retina scan, that kind of technology. But I do know that it's impacting some restaurants as well, some financial institutions, certainly depending on how their employees are checking into work, if you will. So I think this is going to end up having a really broad impact on the business community. It just took a little bit longer to cook through the system than I think we initially thought it would. And finally, we are working right now on our municipal and school district candidate questionnaires and videos for some of them. So be on the lookout for those to hit our website, I hope the middle of next week. The deadline for our candidates to submit those pieces of information is next Tuesday. So we are asking only business questions, right? It's not about how many dogs they have or that they like long walks on the beach, even though I think those are lovely things. What we want to know from these elected official candidates are business concerns. So we want to know, how are they going to address taxation? Are they willing to hold their property tax levy where it is? And those are critical for you guys to know and understand and communicate, because unfortunately, a lot of the times businesses are viewed as, you're not voters, you're a business, right? Well, you all do vote, and you certainly employ people who vote. And we really need to convey that fact. You guys matter. You generate sales tax, you pay property tax. You're critical to this community, and you're critical to our municipality's general funds as well. And it's really important that we all stand together and remember to remind our elected officials that, you're not there for their benefit, right? So prioritization of large capital projects is another question that we're asking of specifically the municipal candidates, and then some other questions about challenges that they're facing. Obviously, the coronavirus restrictions, they're not limited to impacting businesses. They've also impacted our local units of government. So as we know, all of the businesses have tightened their belts in order to address that, decreased revenues, and looking at a budget that doesn't look quite like it used to. And I think the expectation is that as business people, we know that we've made some of these concessions, and we do expect that our governments will do the same. So that is what I have. I'm going to turn it back over to Katie, our membership director, and she can tell me what's next.
Okay, so thank you, Des. I appreciate you sharing those updates. Advocacy, the reason we wanted to start with that is because advocacy is one of those things that it's kind of hard to define until you start to see it in action. And we know everybody participates and interacts with advocacy differently. One of the things that you should be proud of is that as an Ed Glen Chamber member, you're part of, one of the most active, if not the most, in our region when it comes to business advocacy on your behalf. So just want to kind of kick it off with that and kind of give you a quick overview. I know it's difficult conversation, difficult realities, of course, that you are all living and have been living for quite some time, but please know that that does not fall on deaf ears. Those struggles, those challenges, we hear you, we feel you, and we are working together with you to try to navigate it as best that we can. So I think those candidate resources are going to be very helpful as you begin to educate yourself, if you don't already know, about who tends to be more business friendly, and what kind of plans do they have for our future and our recovery economically as a region. So important stuff there. So let's move on to a couple of other things that we wanted to share with you as we kind of give you just sort of a broad chamber update, and then we're going to have a couple of special people give you some quick 5-minute spotlights on some very specific areas as well. So the next thing I want to talk about is that we have actually had over the past couple of months, we have had a couple of really great webinars that we have hosted that just provided some great insight in terms of different, changes that are coming down the pike or have come down the pike. Again, things that are impacting you operate or have the potential to impact your operations, things that have the impact to, have the opportunity to impact your staffing, your hiring, those kinds of things. So those resources are in an archive. We're going to be building that archive and continue to add to it. The session today, where we're talking about specific things that impact small business, will be added to that archive. So just know that as a chamber member, you're going to have access to that and be able to go back to any of the previous recordings, anything, whether you tuned in live or not. Those resources are going to be readily available to you. So just kind of wanted to remind you of that. I think as we progress through the year, you'll see more and more of those resources become available. The other thing I wanted to kind of hit on just while we're together here is that essentially, just to kind of recap, as an organization, there are 3 areas that we focus on. Advocacy, which Des already talked about, promoting your business or organization, making you famous in this community, and then facilitating connections for your success. Those are really the 3 key buckets of service that we provide. So everything that we do is going to fall into one of those 3. So like I said, Des kind of already hit on the advocacy bucket. I just wanted to spend a couple minutes going over just a couple of highlights of the promote services that we're offering, again, to try to make you famous in this community and really highlight and celebrate what it is that you're doing. It's not about us as people who work at the chamber office. It's about you as people who are doing the hard work every single day in this community. So I just want to kind of remind you that we actually have a menu. Sometime last year, we put together a menu of 25 different promotional services that are available to chamber members. So this is really great because it really helps amplify whatever marketing messages that you have at your disposal. I know some of you have a great deal of that available to you, and others of you don't have a lot of that available to you. But regardless of how much you have available, just know that the chamber exists to amplify those messages to, 1.6 million viewers on our website and over 200,000 in our kind of social media audience. And so, just know that those are available to you. Most of them, or a lot of them, are actually already included with even just a basic membership investment. So there definitely are some things that you have access to that you may not remember that you have access to. So just as a follow-up to this session today, we are going to be posting that as a resource, just as a refresher on what those services are. I would encourage you to take a look at those and really think about what might be some tools that you want to take advantage of this year that maybe you are used to using, or maybe some new ones that you haven't used before. So I see familiar faces and familiar messages kind of in the audience today. So I know that some of you are very familiar with those, but some of you may not be as familiar. So please know that that is available. The other thing I want to focus on real quick is kind of the facilitate services. So really what we mean when we say, that one of the key services that we are, or key functions that we are providing for our members is facilitating connections for your success. So, whether it's a partner or an organization that you really you need a warm introduction to, or, maybe it is coming to an event. Believe it or not, this is an event. There are events that are going on that we can connect and engage with people. They just look a little different. They feel a little different. But one of the things that I think we found certainly throughout last year and even before that is that some of the most meaningful connections and most mutually beneficial connections are actually coming through facilitated introductions. And the chamber we love to do that. We love to facilitate introductions among members for their mutual benefit and success. So, please don't ever hesitate to reach out if you've got a question, or you've got a project, or you've got something that you're working on, and you really just kind of want to bounce some ideas around and say, who do you think would be interested in being a part of this, or who should be a part of this that maybe I haven't thought of. So, or if you have a very clear direction of somebody that you need to meet, or a group that you need to meet, reach out, please reach out. That's one of my favorite things to do, is to help you kind of navigate those kinds of connections that again, I'm happy to facilitate on your behalf. So just wanted to kind of remind you of that. So One of the ways that we do that, a lot of the ways that we do that is actually more behind the scenes, very individualized, very personalized for you as a member. Some of that though, some of that facilitation does happen through our events. So just want to give you a little kind of sneak preview of kind of what this year, what we anticipate this year looking like. I will tell you, everything is in pencil as we've learned, but a couple of things that I want to highlight. Those of you who have heard of our Nexus at Noon program, that is our business-focused book club, has moved completely online, and I can tell you the engagement is fantastic, the conversation is fantastic, and the outcome is fantastic. So it's a minimal investment. It's 1 hour every couple of weeks. You log in for an hour. We have a facilitated discussion. You get some great tools and resources and action items that you can take back and start working on. So we do have 2 sessions coming up in March that are going to focus on developing a talk trigger. And if you don't know what that is, then reach out and I'll kind of give you the scoop on that. But it's a very specific marketing strategy that we're going to work on, and every single participant is going to walk away with at least 1 actionable talk trigger just in the course of 3 conversations. So that's what I mean by it's very actionable steps that you can take, very useful information. So that's one program. We've got our, obviously these roundtables, we're going to do quarterly industry roundtables. So the industry focus will shift every quarter. Again, you self-select if you want to participate in those conversations. They'll be much like they are today, where there'll be a group segment, and then we will break out and have smaller group discussions as part of those industry roundtables. So you'll see some of those happening kind of in an online virtual format. You will see the resurrection, the return of Business After 5 events. Those are all driven by the host business. And so I can tell you that there are host businesses that are lined up, ready to open their doors, ready for us to get together and be able to chat in person. And so just kind of, we will roll those out and release those kind of a quarter at a time and let you kind of know when those are available. So never fear, those are coming. Probably, I'm guessing we will probably see the first one. If there's a possibility in March, but definitely in April. I know for sure in April we will have one. So just kind of keep in mind, slow start to the year, but those are going to pick up and will be regularly available as the year progresses. Some of the more signature events are still kind of up in the air. We have a commitment to do them, just trying to work out some details in terms of how to best deliver those. Things like signature events like the golf tournament, the annual awards gala, and the Halloween parade. So those are kind of the 3 chamber signature events. Again, have a commitment, have a dedication to make those happen, trying to just work out some details as to how and when. And of course, you'll be the first to know when we have news to release on those. So that's kind of what I wanted to just kind of highlight real quick on sort of the advocacy bucket that does hit on, the promote bucket, and then our facilitate bucket. So just a quick reminder of sort of some different things that fall into those categories that are all designed to serve you. And again, we are not, today is a perfect example of the fact that we are not averse to trying something new, trying something different, looking at something differently. So certainly if you have feedback, questions, ideas, please feel free to reach out. We would entertain those conversations for sure. All right, now what I want to do is move into we've got 3 speakers today who are just going to give a quick 5-minute highlight, industry-specific highlight in their industry. So we've got Joanne May with the Metro East Small Business Development Center. So she's going to give us a quick 5-minute update on services, resources, some new things that they have got coming down the pike. And then we also have Rob Pickerel with Town and Country Bank, who's going to kind of give us a quick 5-minute update on some funding options and some different programs that are available. Again, back to that business survey that Des talked about, there definitely were 30% of the responses came back that folks are still struggling to figure out what kind of support is out there. And about 70% are concerned that if they need additional support, not entirely sure where that's going to come from. So Rob's going to kind of give us some high-level thoughts on that. And then we also have Kate Ilaria with Zeal Marketing and Consulting, who's going to share, again, very practical tips on why it's important to have a strategy and kind of some essential components. And so those are kind of going to be our next 3 speakers, and they're going to do 5 minutes each. And then what you can expect is after those 3 wrap up, then we're going to break out and do our breakout sessions. Those will be 10-minute conversations, and you'll do 3 of them before we're done in our time together today. So if Joanne is ready, let's just kind of move on and kind of get going with that. I saw her shake her head, so that's good. All right, I am going to mute myself and turn it over to Joanne May. Take it away.
Thank you. So I know many of you here, but for those that do not know who I am Joanne May with the Illinois Small Business Development Center here at SIUE. And we cover a 9-county region here to assist entrepreneurs and small business owners. We're really known for that startup process, but I assure you there's a lot that we can do to help existing businesses as well. We help from that business planning to marketing strategy to HR, and we just appreciate all the support, from our community partners like the Chamber and others, lenders, like you'll hear from here shortly. We definitely need a village, as they say, to make this all happen. So we actually, for several months now, have had some extra support through the CARES Act, and have brought on some additional advisors and resources to help our small businesses. So we have advisors that are really helping us dive more into HR, cybersecurity, web design, especially, for those that didn't have that presence or maybe needed that e-commerce, that pivoting scenario that we've talked a lot about over the last year almost. So we have that funding to provide extra support. We also help, the SBA and Department of Commerce with the programs that they have. As Rob will talk about, there's the economic injury disaster loan, the Paycheck Protection Program. We're expecting, I believe here shortly, I don't think it's taking applications yet, but the Shuttered Venue Operators Grant is about to be released. And I know there's some local programs as well to provide some extra support for businesses. And then just to, kind of wrap up my segment, I'd like to talk a little bit about our podcasting room. So we have been able to put together a small studio for the benefit of small businesses and the community, and our office will utilize it as well to get information out. So we have 2 podcasts. One is out already, the other is about to be released. And we just are so excited to be able to provide that to the community at a very small cost. If you're an established business, it's only $50 an hour. If you're a newer business, less than 3 years, it's only $25. And then we also have editing services. So we have a graduate assistant that can help with the editing. And it's just an extra way for you to get your marketing out there, especially during a time like this where that's so important to let people know that you're still in business and that you're taking precautions, and just the amount of information that's been going around with all these programs and the vaccine and other things. So just the wealth of information that we can help share is exciting to us as well. So if you're in business, or you are thinking of starting, or someone that's about to start a business, we're definitely here to help. And again, thank you for letting me share a little bit of your time.
All right, thank you, Joanne. I really appreciate that update. I should have also mentioned before, all 3 of our special presenters today, we will have their contact information again as a resource post-event today. And so if you want to follow up with any of them offline, you are certainly welcome and encouraged to do so. All right, I am now going to bring up Rob Pickerell. He's going to give us Town and Country Bank, and he's going to give us a quick 5-minute update on some of the things happening with regard to funding for small businesses. So Rob, here we go.
There we go. Thank you, Katie.
You're
Big
welcome.
question is that I get is, so what are my options if I don't qualify for traditional financing? So that's the big question that everybody's asking right now. And I'm going to go over some that you've heard of and some that you may not have heard of based on this popularity. Most common one everybody knows is the SBA program. So there's a 7A 504. For 2021 only, there's a number of great enhancements for the program. Now that these enhancements run out in September 30th. So any loan through the SBA has to be closed by then in order to qualify for the enhancements. The reason for that is the SBA year end is in October 1st. So their year end starts not at the end of the year, but at October 1st. So with the 7A program, one, the guarantee traditionally is 75%, and that has moved to 90. And what does that mean? That means the amount of collateral. So the SBA is guaranteeing, it's kind of, if you think of it as buying your house, you have to be at a certain loan to value. So you have to be at 80% loan to value or up to 90% loan to value. And it's very similar with that guarantee. So they're guaranteeing 90% of your loan request. So it allows banks to be a little more flexible on who they're approving. The other huge deal with this is the SBA this year is waiving their guarantee fee. So that's 3% of your loan amount. So that is gone off the top. So you can do the math whether you're doing a $5 million loan or a $250,000 loan, but that 3% is gone. And then in addition to that, the SBA, this is a brand new change as of this past Thursday, they're paying 3 months of your payments for you post-closing. So if you close an SBA loan, for the 3 months post-closing, they're paying your principal and interest payments. And that's right, they're paying them for you. So it's not a deferral, it's not any kind of interest only. They're actually making your payments for you for 90 days. With the 504 loan, a nice enhancement with that program is you have to be a 51% owner of the space. But as of this past fall, they switched it so there's including sections like your stairwells, your common space, those all go towards your owner occupied. So more people can qualify through that program as well. So that's the 7A. There's a lot more aspects of that, but that's the 7A program. Another program a lot of people know is Justine Peterson. That's pretty common for micro lending. And then another one that is not as well known around here is LISC. That's LISC. So LISC is kind of a partner to Justine Peterson. So Justine Peterson's a micro lender. LISC does transactions over 200,000. So they're larger. They can do 200,000 up to $3 or $4 million. So they're larger transactions. Again, depending on the need, they can come in and partner with the bank that make us feel more comfortable, or they can come in and do the whole project initially until the bank wants to come in. Another program that's real popular in Illinois, it's only for Illinois, is called Illinois Advantage. It's for Illinois women and minority. So the Illinois Advantage program is a great program for buying equipment, for expanding. Now it's underwritten like a conventional loan, but they come in, they take up to $400,000 or 50% of the loan request. And their portion, the state portion, is fixed at 2%. So it's a very good program for people to want to participate in. One thing I want to point out with all these programs, though, I get this question a lot. These programs are to fix collateral or stability issues within the transaction, the request. There aren't any programs out there that's going to fix cash flow issues. So businesses having cash flow issues, these loan programs don't correct that. And that's why I tell people if you're starting a business or if you've already started your business, once you've filed those first years of tax returns, we have to use those first year of tax returns. And most businesses have a loss their first year. So it makes it nearly impossible for us to get additional funding. So two things, you want to get as much funding as you think you're really going to need up front. Or two, whenever you go to a bank, if you don't have a positive cash flow, I'm just transparent up front, it's going to be very difficult to get funding. Those are my highlights for the programs. And another one that's coming down the pike, grants. Joanne talked about a little bit. Grant funding is coming down to the state level. We're hoping to have it by March. I think I talked to a person. So there's going to be a lot of additional funds. It's very much underutilized. There's a lot of grant funds out there that go unused. So I tell people, make sure you're looking out. I have contacts that can help with that. I don't, but I surround myself with people that can do those things. But don't write off grant funding as well. Appreciate it, Katie.
Awesome. Thank you, Rob. I appreciate that. I wasn't lying when I said these are short and sweet, tips. You're welcome to follow up with any of these folks after. I appreciate the honest, transparent, tips and insight. That's what we need. We can all read things that show up on websites and read jargon, but we need somebody to cut through it and interpret it and tell us what it really means. So I appreciate that. And I definitely will echo what Rob said about grants that are available. Again, the chamber, we want to be kind of a resource in terms of getting that information out and making sure that, you know that if we're sending something to you that says this is available, you can trust that we have vetted it through the people that Rob knows or, the other industry experts, and that, we're not going to share something with you unless it has been vetted and trusted more than once, and that we know it's something that could be a viable option for you. So you can trust us if you see something like that come through from us. All right, we're going to keep moving along here to our third special guest, and that is Ms. Kate Alaria with Zeal Marketing and Consulting. So Kate, I'm going to, you are unmuted. Let me do my little magic so you can share your screen.
Okay, I'm high maintenance, so I have to have visual aid.
1 second. Okay.
You ready for me to share my screen? Okay.
Yes, you should be able to do that now.
Yep. All right. Are you seeing my thing? My presentation? Okay, good. Okay, so thank you, Katie. I'm excited to have the opportunity to talk to you all. I'm gonna try and squeeze marketing strategy into 5 minutes, and I can promise you it's not gonna work, but I'm gonna get you as much as I can in 5 minutes. Okay, so I feel so grateful to get to speak to this group specifically because there's a special place in my heart for entrepreneurs and small business owners, and I named my company accordingly because Zeal means great energy or enthusiasm in pursuit of a cause or an objective. And if that does not describe every small business owner, I don't know what does. So I say that only to say I understand you, I get you, you're the people I work with. And yes, even you need a marketing strategy, okay? So my process at Zeal looks a little bit like this. Analyze, so that's take a good hard look at everything, and I'm gonna dig in on that one. Organize, that's really internal for you to clean up. Strategize, make the plan for growth. Conceptualize is where you bring it to life with the creative. And then realize, you execute it, you monitor your results, adapt, whatever. Okay, so we're gonna dig in on a couple of these. Analyze is my very, very favorite, and I'm a total dork, but I love a SWOT analysis, and I'm just telling you, don't skip this step. Pull your team together and take the time, sit down and take the time to identify what makes you unique and special. What are your weaknesses? What are the barriers for growth that you need to fix? That's step 2, organize. Identify your opportunities. Those a lot of times you're going to turn into goals, and conduct a market analysis or a competitor analysis. That gives you a lot of information. The information you pull out of your SWOT analysis is invaluable. You're going to use it for your strategy. And if you're skipping this step, you're missing things, okay? What's working, what's not working? This is a great group discussion. Assess your brand. Pull your customers too. They'll have opinions. Review your products and service offerings. What's selling, what's not selling. And of the stuff that is selling, what's profitable and what's not profitable. Those are really important questions to ask, and those will come into play as you're putting together your strategy. Evaluate prior marketing strategies, what has worked for you in the past and what hasn't. Those are important things to take note of as you're analyzing. Know your customer journey inside and out. So I have a background in healthcare, okay? And this was a big deal for me because it takes 10 times more money to acquire a new patient or customer than it does a repeat customer. So if your customer journey or your customer experience is not great and you're not confident that it's going to be great every time, don't spend money on marketing yet. Get that fixed first, and then you can start marketing. Okay, so that's really important to understand. And then engage your team. From the top to the bottom, you will have trusted team members that you can pull together, and their perspectives really are important and valuable and unique. Okay, so step 2 would be organize. That's where you take the, what you learned, and you're going to fix it. Okay, so you're going to fix the process stuff. And then you can move on to strategy. So you're going to set your goals. That comes like literally, it's glaringly obviously when you do a SWOT, it's right there. Your strategy is unique to you. So while you may find some ideas downloading a marketing strategy off the internet, I can just tell you it's not the answer. You've got to do the work and do the SWOT and really dig into your business to put together a marketing strategy that's going to work. Targeting is part of the strategy. So defining your target audience is really important, and really understanding their lifestyle. Your target audience could vary by product or service line as well. So that's something to think about. And then of course your geographic service area. And then finally, this is the part that you all probably think of when I say marketing strategy, and that's the tactics. And that is whether it's a rebrand or a website or video production, creative advertising, digital marketing, social media, all those things are tactics, but you've got to do the other stuff also or first in order for that to be effective. Okay, in summary, we all need a marketing strategy, and here are 5 reasons why. Establish your goals, literally take the time to sit down and dig in, and I'm going to let somebody in the room because I have the power. Okay. Okay, so determine your goals. What's going to make the biggest impact? What volume increases are going to result in the highest net profit? Those are bits of information that come out of a SWOT, okay? Number 2, all for one. Everyone's on the same page. All your team members know what the goal is. When you come to a crossroads and you need to make a decision, a lot of times using your mission and your goals will help guide you. Budget efficiency. This is really, really a big key for small businesses who have a limited budget. And goodness, if 2020 didn't limit our budgets, right? So we don't have extra. We need to be efficient with it. So if you determine in advance what your priorities are and how much you're going to spend on them and where you're going to spend it, you will reduce waste. Marketing waste. Okay, number 4, you are defining your campaigns by product or service line. So that means you're taking the time to determine which products or service lines you want to promote and how you're going to do that in advance. So we're going to put a little mini strategy together for those. And then number 5, monitor your results and then adapt. So when you have set your goals and determined how you're going to reach them, you can monitor and find out if it's working or not. And if it is, awesome, maybe you double down on it. If it's not, then you need to adjust. Okay, that was it. Did I make it? Probably not. But if you need, if I can help you in any way, there's a lot more where that came from. So just reach out to me anytime.
Okay, well done. Thank you again to all 3 of our special guest presenters. You guys knocked that out of the park. Yes, round of applause that are coming through. So thank you for doing that. We're actually doing great on time, and we do have a couple of minutes before we're going to break out into our breakout sessions. So I am going to, if there's 1 or 2 people that has a question, that if something that has been shared so far or something that you're curious about, before we all kind of break out a couple of different times and come back together, if anyone's got a burning question, I do want to open it up and just kind of make that available if there's somebody that would like to ask something. Everybody's still awake this afternoon. That's a plus. I think all that beautiful sunshine streaming in is probably helping a little bit. Okay, so Lisa, if you don't mind, I'm going to repeat your question if that's okay. So Lisa asked a question about the target audience for podcasting, and I might let Kate weigh in on this as well. My general sentiment is that podcasting seems to be on the rise, and it does not appear to be saturated yet in terms of a marketing tactic. As far as the demographics, I think it probably depends on your industry. Podcasting is so segmented; it's hyper segmented in terms of who's going to listen to your podcast. So it's one of those things. I think my general answer and sentiment to that question would be, if it fits in your overall strategy, kind of going through some of the things that Kate recommended and talked about, if it's an avenue that you think fits into your overall strategy, certainly the SBDC has made it incredibly accessible to be able to try it and test it out. And then you're going to have some of those analytics to determine if it was worth it for you or not. So I think that it's a neat resource. The great thing is that by having it right here in our community through the SBDC, you as a business owner are not having to invest in the equipment and the technology and frankly the know-how to be able to produce a podcast. You simply just show up and deliver the content and let them kind of do the rest. And so I think that would be my answer to that. Kate, do you have anything that you would like to add from a marketing perspective?
Yeah, I could add a little. I think you're right on, Katie. I think whoever your audience is, you talk to them, and people across the spectrum are listening to podcasts. They're listening to what they're interested in. It is a long-term strategy. So it's going to take a long time to get followers. It's going to take a long time to build up the content. So just keep that in mind. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of long-term strategies, but if you want to commit to doing it, commit to a year for sure. It's definitely going to take time.
Thanks, Kate. I appreciate your insight on that.
Hey, Kate, what frequency do you recommend? So if we're committing to a year, let's say, do you think once a week, once every other week? I would assume that a month is probably too much empty space, kind of lose attention.
I would say, man, if you can do it weekly, or produce 4 of them at once and release them weekly, I think that's probably ideal as far as keeping something fresh in front of your listeners, and also building up a library fairly quickly. That's my recommendation when we do YouTube videos as well, when we're trying to build up a YouTube library. So yeah, it does. I think once a week is the answer. But you don't have to shoot them once a week. Shoot them, record them once a week, and they don't have to be an hour. Like they can be 15 minutes, Mm-hmm.
All great tips and insights. I appreciate that. Beth, just to follow up on your question, I will double check with Joanne on that. My understanding based on what she had shared with me in the past in terms of accessing some of the podcasting and the video services, that as long as it's kind of done, scheduled by an appointment in advance and, protocols and that sort of thing, that it was allowed. But that's a great question, and we will follow up with Joanne to get an answer for you on that. Okay, anything else? Thank you for asking those questions. That's great. I really appreciate it. Okay, so here is what we are going to do. Now we're going to shift the focus. And again, these next breakout sessions, there's going to be 3 breakout sessions. And so you will be randomly assigned to a group or to a room. You will have a specific discussion question that your facilitator will explain and guide the conversation. Those will not be recorded, okay? So feel free to be as open and honest and transparent as you want to be there. It is a safe space to be able to exchange ideas, challenges, solutions, and the whole 9 yards. So if you guys will give me just 1 second, you are going to have to click a button that says, yes, I want to move out to a breakout room. So please play along. Please do that. And then after 10 minutes, then we're going to come back and we'll have this group. We'll come back as one group, and then you're going to break out again. come back, and break out a third time and come back. So again, 3 different conversations, 10 minutes each, and you'll have different folks in each of those conversations, okay? So any questions before we do that? Here's the deal, if you get lost anywhere along the way, if you get lost, go back to your email, click the meeting link, and you're gonna come right back here, and I promise I'll be waiting right here to help you if you get lost anywhere, okay? All right, so give me just 1 second, please. Okay, here we go, guys. You'll be back in 10 minutes. All right, everybody, welcome back from your breakout sessions. I hope you had some great conversations, got to know some of the other attendees a little bit better. Thank you for hanging in there with us and participating in those. Thank you to our facilitators who helped guide those conversations, and really appreciate your effort in that. Just as kind of a wrap up, we just have a few minutes left together today, so I want to wrap up a couple of things. I want to, again, thanks to our 3 special presenters. I know Kate is still with us. Rob is still with us. Thank you, guys. I know Joanne had to jet off to something else, but thank you guys so much for sharing your expertise with us today. Thank you all for attending, for sharing an hour and a half of your afternoon. I know time is money and your time is very, very valuable. So we really appreciate and honor the fact that you chose to share some of that with us today. Our hope is that it was time very well spent and that you got some good ideas, some good takeaways, some good connections from your time together today. As I mentioned earlier on in the presentation, we are going to have these roundtables quarterly. So I want to kind of give you a little preview of what is to come for the remainder of the year. In April, we will have one that focuses specifically on nonprofits, those who serve that sector. In July, we'll have one on healthcare. And then in November, we'll have another one on small business. So again, you are welcome to self-select into any or all of those sessions that interest you, and so you'll get information about them. And if it's something that you want to join the conversation, please do. It will go very much like today. We'll probably have a few key speakers to kind of speak into their areas of expertise, excuse me, and then we'll have some breakout time as well, where you can have smaller opportunities to connect with people on a more individual basis. So it'll be structured much the same way. And lastly, I just want to say, again, just as a reminder, we are here to help. Please know that, we may not always have the answer, but we are a confident listening ear that is more than happy to kind of work through, brainstorm, whatever it is that you're going through. Please don't hesitate to reach out. We don't exist. You're the reason that we exist. Without you, we're not here. And so we want to do everything that we can to support you. We want to, brainstorm new ideas. We want to help you connect to the people that you need to connect with. We want to give you a voice in some of the decisions that are made that have a direct impact on you. So please feel free to continue this conversation with anybody that you have met today. And certainly if any of Desiree at the Chamber can be of assistance, please know that we're more than happy to do that. And we love working with you and talking with you. So does anybody have anything? I will give you all the option to unmute yourselves. If there is something that you want to share, then you're welcome to unmute and share. Otherwise, I'm not going to put anybody on the spot.
I would just say I flew through my information, and I do think that some of that, especially the analysis information, would be helpful to you. So I'm happy to share that. Katie, I'll just send it to you. And if anybody, if that would help you, you're welcome to use it.
That would be perfect, Kate. Thank you. Yes, I would love to put that as again, back kind of on that resource archive so that everybody can have access to that information. Thank you so much.
Sure.
I just wanted to introduce myself because I'm new to the group. So I'm with Hawthorne Animal Hospital. I recently started doing our marketing with Kate. And so I'm going to be more active with you guys, and just wanted everyone to know who I was.
Well, hi, Autumn. It's great to see your face and officially meet you.
Yeah.
Autumn's a rock star. She's just a little budding superhero over there at Hawthorne.
Well, thank you for joining us today, Autumn. We appreciate that.
I've enjoyed it.
Good.
And she shared with us, Kate, that you implemented like the QR codes for her for some of their new technology pieces. And I didn't realize that was really part of your scope too.
Oh, I'll do whatever,
The woman who does it all.
Yeah. What do you need? Yeah, I did help with that. There was, everything I do with Hawthorne is really kind of a joint, project with there. I worked on with Andrew, I don't know what Andrew's title is, Dr. Meyer's son.
His life title.
Mhm. Yeah, well, it was tied into the website, and I handle the website, so yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's handy. Mm-hmm.
Well, as I look across the group that's still here in the audience, I mean, you guys are representing lots of different industries, lots of different specialties, and again, we can't do anything without you. So again, I just thank you so much. Every day I wake up and go, these people are the bravest people on the planet, and it is truly my honor to get to serve you any way that we possibly can. So, and I mean that. I'm not just saying that. I totally mean that. All right. Well, I do want to be respectful of your time. We're about to turn over to 4 o'clock, so I will let everybody go. And again, thank you for your time. Be looking for the archive. I'll send you a link when that's ready, and we will see you guys all again soon. Thanks so much. Everyone have a great afternoon.
Bye, guys.